I'm George Boutwell, and I'm an artist. Live here in Bosque County. Moved here in 1987. My mother died when I was 2, and my father and I hitchhiked around the country, and I didn't learn to socialize, and I would get frustrated trying to get words out, which probably nobody believes now, but I would draw pictures of what I was trying to tell people, and I got patted on the head and complimented and told I was an artist. And so, I mean, from the day I can remember, I was drawing pictures of things. And then my father remarried after we were in California, and my stepmother was a very cultural person. She was well educated and loved the arts, and was also a schizophrenic. And she could be the sweetest person in the world and then the scariest in the next moment. And from managing my stepmother from the 4th grade on, to this day, whenever the world starts picking on me, things start going wrong, I just go paint. It feels safe that way. It's probably due to my childhood. Never had an art lesson. I was obsessed with art, and went to public library and checked out every art book I could find. And I realized later in life that people with the art degrees had done the required reading, and I'd read everything. And I guess in the commercial art field, when the ad agency I worked for won a bunch of awards, we were asked to judge the graduating class's portfolios. And I'm thinking, if my work will qualify me to judge the graduating class, I need to quit feeling inferior because I don't have an art degree. And that was a major point where I gained some confidence. I worked as a commercial artist for 11 years. And one of which was art director of Texas Highways magazine, which really opened my eyes to the diversity of Texas. And a lot of what I'm doing is kind of an extension of that. And I started selling my work. First started out trying to sell it through art galleries, and I got nowhere. And then I got into an art in the park thing there in Austin. So I was doing weekend shows close by Austin, and got fired at my last job. And at that point I was bringing in enough money painting that I decided I wasn't going to get another job. And that was 46 years ago, and I've gotten away with this all those years. I'm basically what they consider a street artist. You know, I'm probably one of the most successful street artists out there, but that's what I am. I do festivals, and that's what I've done, and I love it. And the gallery artist, having gotten nowhere with that when I was younger, I've always felt like, you know, deep down somehow these guys were better than me, you know, because I had to be a street artist and they were in the gallery, you know, and the art world kind of promotes that. I guess George Hallmark was probably responsible for me being included in the Bosque 7, because I felt like, you know, what am I doing here? You know, these guys are big shots and I'm a street artist. Well, you know, why'd they include me? And but when I looked at all the work together, I thought, you know what, I don't look inferior to any of this stuff. I don't do commission work anymore, but I used to. And there was a fellow named Nat Wofford over in Waco who was a real estate guy, and he had a place down here on Neals Creek, almost right where the highway crosses. And he got me up here to take some pictures and do a painting of the creek, which I did. And in the process, asked me, why does an artist that paints the country live in the city? And I told him, I said, when my children get grown, you find me a Victorian house on top of a hill with enough land I can't see my neighbors, and you'll get me out of Austin. When I first moved up here, it was Melvin Warren, James Boren, Martin Greeley, and me, you know, and I was the third interloper, I guess, you know, that wasn't born here. And but just the scenery, you know, getting up every morning, stepping out of my front porch and looking over the Bosque River Valley, and just the environment more than anything else. One thing I've learned in life, not just in painting, but in life in general, is ideas that are crystal clear, that just snap into your mind, will always work. Ideas that are going to take some development later and some things you got to figure out later will always fail. So I don't act on anything until it's crystal clear. And not all of those are great, but you know, my visualization process is there. So in between, I feel it's important to keep flow going. And then the idea pops into my mind and it's clear, and I jump on a big one. I've never been part of a movement or a group think type thing, and watercolor societies have all these rules, and when I've given demonstrations or a couple of workshops I've taught, I've always asked the question, you know, what are the rules in art? And the answer is there are no rules. And if you don't understand that, I can break it down into two things. If it works, it's right. If it doesn't work, it's wrong. Art is not something that's essential to anybody. You know, it is at a subliminal level, but most people don't realize that. You know, true art is an individual expression, and it's independent of anyone else's opinion. You know, I consider myself to be blessed to have grown up dirt poor and be living the dream. You know, had I only been able to just put food on the table and, you know, live in a one-room shack and do art, I would have considered myself successful. But to have done what I've done, like putting the first two children through college in our family, you know, with art, you know.